You're back. The incident that happened at Full Wish TV is causing a huge stir. Come watch the news.
Hello, everyone! Welcome to our brand new segment, the Phantom Moon Brief. I'm your host, Poofy.
Hi, everyone. This is your old friend, Snowy.
Well then, as the Phantom Moon games reach a boiling point, and for reasons that need no explanation, we are now joining Duo Mention TV to bring you live coverage of the latest and most critical news updates.
Yes, we are! And after the director of Full Wish TV and sponsor of the Research Society of Happy Smiles, Full Wish announced that she was joining the Phantom Moon Games! That terrifying tragedy of 15 years ago once again swept through the psionic game!
The supplicant debate, slated to take place at the Seafeld TV tower, was cut short when out-of-control Imaginée known as Joy Ascendants appeared suddenly and launched an attack. This Imagenesis plague centered on Seafeld City spread rapidly. Even Full Wish herself turned into a monster atop the Seafeld TV tower.
As of the latest reports, nearly 200,000 human and Imaginée inhabitants across Plain Arcadia have been affected by the plague. Countless individuals are injured or missing, and total losses are estimated to have reached 8.6 billion credits. And in a chilling echo of the Bloodstained Games 15 years ago, footage left behind by Full Wish points to the disaster as the work of supplicants from beyond the sky.
She identified the culprits as the famed cosmic hero, the trailblazer of the Astral Express, and the wanted criminal, Stellaron Hunter Blade, claiming they were responsible for the tragedy.
But a spokesperson for the Department of Aberration Defense said the disaster was planned and executed by Full Wish herself through her organization, the Research Society of Happy Smiles. They added that the investigation will continue and the organization will be shut down.
Oh, how familiar that sounds. 15 years ago, they made the same excuses. What is the real story behind this? The Phantom Moon Brief will continue to keep you updated.
Over 500 years ago, a prophet made a prediction. In year 1999, a terrifying devil will descend from the sky. Will this prophecy come true? Can Plain Arcadia safely make it through this crucial year? We will have to wait and see.
Shame on them. How can they just say things like that on TV when it's not even confirmed? And the internet is flooded with fake news about you too. Also, those two hosts, weren't they from Full Wish TV? They were spreading nasty stories about you on the news before. And now look, they've immediately jumped ship after what happened to Full Wish. Ever since coming to Plain Arcadia, nothing surprises me anymore. I'm happy you made it back safely, but somehow, you just don't seem quite the same. Oh no. You're trying to grow up and leave me behind. Don't tell me you're becoming the next Don Hung. No! Is this what it takes to become a hero? If you're all grown up and serious, we just can't click like we used to anymore. Oh, right. Tell me about what happened at the TV tower. I've heard Don Hung and Sunday's side of the story, but I haven't heard yours yet. So, Full Wish had people undergo the happiness surgery to implant Shuhu's flesh into their bodies, and that ended up causing this disaster? And you guys stopped the mutation from spreading, but all you managed to do was to temporarily seal Shuhu's flesh inside Blade? And then you mentioned that Nessia, the one we met at Star Rail Fest, is actually the Phantom Moon Games arbitrator? No wonder she could draw a mask for you. And she also asked you to go deep into the world in Canvas to warn... who was it again? Who is that?
Yes, Graphia. Himiko's ancestor. She's an artist from 1,000 years ago.
Himiko's ancestor? She's still alive? Wait, that's not even the most important part. Nessia asked you to warn Graphia that the Lord Ravager, Asat Pramod, is back? Oh, why does the Express have such bad luck? By this point, whenever we go on vacation, I'm always ready to deal with random problems. But running into another Lord Ravager while on vacation? This is way over the line. A Lord Ravager, at Venesia's request, Shuhu's flesh and Blade's body, and the unfinished Phantasmoon Moon games. Suddenly, there are so many things to deal with. It feels like we're juggling a bunch of eggs all at once. One slip, and it's all gonna go splat. Are you okay? I wish I were as calm as you. I'm gonna go take a minute and collect myself.
So many things to deal with right now. What should I do next?
Welt, he's tired. Let him sleep. You're obviously tired. I never thought this vacation would become the prelude to yet another major war.
From our very first steps, trouble has always followed the Nameless. But this is way too much.
Look at you now. It takes me back to when I first got the Express running again. Aside from Pom Pom, I was the only crew member on board, constantly stretched thin and feeling out of my depth. All I could do was note every problem in the navigation log, one by one. A world's coordinates that needed an update. A glitch in the Express's warp system. The notes were as dense as the coordinates on the astral charts, leaving me completely overwhelmed. Back then, I never imagined the Astral Express would one day have to face a Lord Ravager. But strangely, now that the time has come again, I'm not panicking at all. Come to think of it, it's because of you. Because of all of you. Along the way, we have defeated 2 Lord Ravagers. The Nameless who guided me before I set out once told me, "Keep moving forward, and the obstacles that once felt impossible to conquer will soon be behind you. And along the way, you'll find companions who are just like you." I've seen you grow through the Phantom Moon games, becoming someone others can trust and lean on. And I heard the declaration you made atop the tower. I'm truly proud of you. That's why I want to share a story from the past with you. A promise from 15 years ago. I promised someone that when the moon over my hometown was full again, I would go back to see her, to let her know I had made the most of this borrowed life and found companions I could trust with all my heart. I want to share this story with you all. The story of how my journey began. It's a long story, filled with many memories of my past. I'd also like to invite you all to the place where I repaired the Express and tell you everything bit by bit.
All right, it's a deal. When I return from the world in canvas, you can make us... let Shush make us some coffee, huh? Then we'll settle in and listen to your story.
Speaking of the world in canvas, March told me about what Evanesia said to you. Evanesia's request was not made lightly, and she was worried for a reason. Silverwolf saw that Lord Ravager in action too. According to the records from the databank and the IPC's investigation, Asat Pramad's campaigns often span centuries, and the planets he targets all end up destroyed in freak accidents, leaving their surfaces covered in only smiling faces. 1,000 years ago, my ancestor Graphia created the world in canvas. If that was to resist Asat Pramad's invasion of Ahatopia, then could this disaster unleashed through the Phantom Moon games be the prelude to his next invasion? That's the first of many mysteries. Based on our family history, we are clearly not descendants of any long-lived species. Quite the opposite. The weathering curse has shortened my family's lifespan for generations. What could my ancestor have gone through to still exist today? That too leaves me deeply curious. There are far too many legends about her. It's hard to tell what's true and what's not. Only two things are beyond doubt. First, during the Cinderth Age, she created countless Imaginae and sent them into battle against the demon legions from beyond. Second, near the end of one of the Phantom Moon games, she created the world in canvas to shelter inside it what was left of civilization and life. Which means she is not only familiar with Asat Pramad, but has also witnessed the manifestation of the Eon of Elation. Nobody knows just how big the plane Graphia created actually is. Over 140 years ago, the IPC tried to salvage the world in canvas, but they were only able to reconstruct part of it in the real world. That portion became what we know as Plain Arcadia. Legend has it that Graphia used a vast ocean as her canvas and channeled the power of elation to step into the painting, which means she has not only seen Asat Pramad, but has also seen the Eon of Elation descend in all their glory. Good question. As for who in Plain Arcadia knows Graphia and the world in canvas best, it's probably Pearl. She was sent here by the IPC. She should have some clues to guide us in the right direction. By the way, General Yao Guang is here. She says she wants to talk to you in I'm not sure if she comes with good news or bad news. She brought a little gift from the Cienjo, though. Mung bean soda. Go talk to General Yao Guang, then. Don't keep her waiting. After that, come to the party car and fill us in on your next move.
Nice to meet you, Ishvara. I always thought that the arbitrator, Evanesia, would step in and punish Fullwish for the disaster she caused. But, to my surprise, it was you who defeated Fullwish. In my capacity as an Arbiter General, I extend my deepest gratitude to you for halting the plague and sparing countless lives from suffering. What I am about to tell you is something Evanesia risked breaking the rules to share with me. Please keep it a secret. Not a word of this leaves the Express. Sealed within Ahatopia's core is Ouroboros, the Veracity. Wait, you've never heard of the Veracity before? Come to think of it, they must be unfamiliar to most people. They were supposed to be recorded in the list of arch-enemies as an author of calamity. They are an ancient god of desire and consumption, an eon that evolved from a leviathan. But they disappeared so long ago that the Cienjo Alliance never witnessed any of their deeds, and they were never recognized as an author of calamity. Well, they need no such title anyway. Beast of Calamity, Star Devourer, Void Maw. Just hearing these names, one can imagine what kind of monstrosity they were. A vast, writhing form whose slightest movement could crush entire planets, before swallowing what remained into an insatiable abyss. Rumor has it, they were last seen during the era of the Swarm disaster. They were hardly there to aid the Swarm, but rather to attend a cosmic-level feast, in which the Swarm served merely as appetizers, and the planets they passed were devoured as the main course. No one expected them to be here of all places, sealed away on this very planet, after vanishing for years. The true situation remains unknown, but with this information we can understand why Asat Pramod set his sights on this world. Aren't you a little afraid, facing a huge disaster like this? That's impressive, Ishvara. No wonder you survived the calamity of Iron Tomb. Fortune follows when fate hits its lowest ebb. Every crisis comes with an opportunity. Now that we know a force capable of devouring stars is deep in slumber at this planet's core, perhaps we could make it devour the problem inside Blade's body. It might just be a risky path worth taking. Blade has agreed to my proposal and will venture into the world in canvas to seek out the Veracity. From what I've heard, you are going there as well. I cast a divination, and the hexagram shifted between the marsh and fire trigrams, yielding the judgment. Heaven and earth are separate and apart, but the work which they do is the same. In other words, though your paths may differ, they are destined to intersect. A funeral, or an adventure. Will it be a battle with only a 1 in 10 chance of survival to tear away Shuhu's flesh from his body and eliminate the Cienjo's arch-enemy? Or will it be a journey in which he settles all grudges and never looks back? It all depends on how he perceives it. Blade agreed to my proposal, even though that little Stellaron hunter girl wouldn't stop objecting. Betting? No, I don't see it that way. We are not chips laid on a gaming table, nor dice tossed at someone's whim. We trust in people, in ourselves, and in those beside us, knowing they can change the course of even the most desperate battle. That belief is what gave you the strength to overcome Fullwish. It is also the only reason I stay for this world. My purpose has never changed. I am going to draw the elation into my divination, and overturn a fate marked for great woe. I have a plan for how to handle Asat Pramod if he strikes unexpectedly, but I still need more hands to make it work. What miracle could cap off these games better than a finale that humbles a Lord Ravager? It will be a tribute to the elation. The shadow of the Lord Ravager looms, and from here on, everyone must carry their part of the burden. I will take my leave first.
Oh, there you are. We were waiting for you.
We're here to celebrate the Astral Express making it through another trial, of course. Pom-Pom's heard all about your latest adventure.
It's a modest celebration, but a meaningful one. You stopped Fullwish's scheme, and that is no small achievement. Regardless of what the people of Plain Arcadia or the media may say, we raise a glass to you.
Exactly. You knocked out the mastermind behind all those creepy whatever their name is. I didn't get to see it myself, but Don Hung described it for me. You killed it!
Your victory gave Blade a chance to free himself from Shuhu's flesh. Thank you.
With a Lord Ravager looming on the horizon, everyone will soon be heading off on their own missions. Before that, it felt right to have a small gathering like this.
Now, let's make a toast. Here's to everyone who fights to protect this Arcadia. And here's to all of us. The Lord Ravager can throw whatever he wants at us, but I know the Astral Express will keep streaking across the stars.
Thank you. All of you. Having you by my side is what gives me the courage to face the future. I'll carry this strength with me through the rest of this journey.
Cheers! There you are. March and I were talking about you. A little. But March is obviously worrying too much.
Hey, what's that supposed to mean? I have a reasonable amount of concern for my companions.
This trip to Plain Arcadia is the first time we weren't necessarily working together toward a common goal. You dove into the Phantasmoon games. I crossed paths with that relentless old friend and foe again. As for March, well, she spent her time wandering and eating. Her perfect little vacation.
Wait, hold up. How come all I get is wandering and eating? I grabbed plenty of comics as well. I call it cultural exploration. With a little extra time for me to recharge, of course. Right?
Now that we're having this little break, it hit me that I might have neglected you and March.
We are actually more concerned about your condition, Dan Heng.
Blade has accepted General Yao Guang's proposal. Perhaps he has finally moved on from past grudges and that abundance curse, and is now ready to do something for himself. It's going to be a path fraught with danger, so I had hoped to accompany him for a bit longer, but he refused. From now on, I will turn my attention to this world. Mr. Yang and I have been asked by General Yao Guang to help with setting up some defensive formations.
I've got work to do too. Mr. Ashvale wanted someone to accompany him to the tavern to investigate clues about Asat Pramod. Yours truly figured she'd been resting long enough, and it was time to stretch her legs. So I volunteered. No problem. When you come back, you have to share everything you saw in the world in Canvas.
Just in time. I've talked to Madame Pearl. She will handle all the arrangements for your passage, so you can enter the world in Canvas to find my ancestor Graphia. Actually, I hoped you could take some time to rest first. Once you've fully rested, you may make your way to the dock in Seafeld City. Madame Pearl has a special ship waiting for you there. It will take you to the border between this world and the world in Canvas, a place known as Inkford Hermitage. That's your final stop before entering the world in Canvas, a place to gather your supplies and rest up before you set out on the journey ahead. I know you'll have to go alone this time, but I don't think it'll be dangerous. After all, that realm was created by Graphia, my ancestor. The thought of it makes me feel calm, in a strange but comforting way. If you get to meet her, please give her my regards. I am indeed quite curious. I'd love to see this ancestor of mine for myself, and hear her story in her own words. But someone must stay here and keep watch. Madame Pearl wishes to confer with me and General Yao Guang about our next steps in dealing with Asat Pramod. So I'll be entrusting this mission into the world in Canvas to you. Go ahead. Set out once you've rested up. I'll be here with Welt and the others, awaiting good news from you.
In other words, that woman wants you to take Shuhu and jump straight into the Veracity and leave the rest to the Eon's stomach acid? And this is between me and him, right? Why are you tagging along?
Relax. I'll say my goodbyes and be gone. A dignified funeral, If you ask me, this ending is indeed grand enough.
I don't care about any of that. There's only one thing I care about. Does he have to die?
Here's a piece of advice, little cub. Whether he lives or dies is his choice. That's the one thing you don't get to decide for him.
It has landed.
What?
Nothing. Just a seabird landing on the rocks. A blade forged of mortal steel cannot sever an undying fate. If Shuhu is to be put down, The options are few, and that Leviathan is one of them.
In time, people will say this. The culprit of the Juming gave his life for the greater good, and plunged into the abyss alongside the abomination.
I'm not as noble as you make it sound. Many years ago, you invited me to join the Galaxy Rangers. I refused for one reason. I'm a petty man. I was never born to carry some greater good. This is between Shuhu and me. Nothing more.
Can't argue with that. A Galaxy Ranger through and through. Well then, I won't say anything more.
Blade, you sure about this?
For years, death has clung to me like a curse, etched into my bones. If there is a chance to make a god feel the same pain, I would do it, even if this body is reduced to ash. As for everyone else, there's no need to drag them into this. We'll proceed as Yao Guang proposed. Bury Shuhu at the end of the world in canvas, taking me with him, and let the veracity dissolve us both.
Take care.
How about you stay as well? You might as well see it through to the end with us.
Plain Arcadia has bigger problems that need my attention. Your instincts were right. That meanie pulling strings from the shadows is none other than a Sat Pramod.
Who else would want to kick a Ha's head like a ball?
So, I need to get back and finish my job.
Investigating a Lord Ravager sounds like a job you don't come back from.
Therefore, it also pays very well.
Then here's hoping you live long enough to collect your payment. Every time, when it's just the two of us, you go quiet.
You know what I'm going to say. The seabird's flown off. It's time for us to go too.
The terror slumbering at the heart of plain Arcadia is... Ouroboros.
After the swarm disaster, the veracity vanished, never to appear again for more than 700 Amber eras. Their last rumored sighting was 500 years ago.
History fictionologists claim that Ouroboros lies in wait at the edge of the cosmos, guarded by their children, awaiting the day of their return.
I've heard that story before, but it wasn't about the edge of the cosmos. It was Pier Point. They say that the preservation is nothing more than a facade, and the IPC is, in truth, a cult devoted to the veracity.
Organic life has quite the imagination. They've said other things, too. That Louis Fleming seeks to ascend as the Eon of Wealth. That the Council of Mundanites are mere hounds of Dr. Primitive, that the Marketing Development Department colludes with the destruction, turning a blind eye to the spread of Stellarons. Such rumors are endless. I believe the General should be able to tell which are true and which are not.
I've never heard the last one, so let's assume it's the only one that's true. Such terrible breath. Once this Leviathan awakens, the Arcadia's destruction would be all but instantaneous.
For now, this remains conjecture. The sealed remains appear to be a husk that Ouroboros once shed. Why it's here, and how it's connected to the elation, remain unknown. Yet even a fragmented remnant of an Eon is a threat that can't be ignored. The calamity of the Leviathan must not be allowed to re-emerge in this world.
Naturally, that is why I'm here. And it's about time for the two Nameless to arrive. Oh, you're just on time.
General Yao Guang, as instructed, warding talismans have been placed at over a dozen sites across Plain Arcadia.
My thanks. It was Mr. Yang's talent of creation out of nothing that allowed us to reproduce dozens of plumes and complete the deployment with such speed. Now, with Yin and Yang aligned, and all four aspects in place, as long as we set up the last formation core, the Decalite reflection barrier will be complete.
Using the divine eye of the Spiritus to weave a giant web, one that ensnares countless possible futures. General, have you truly made up your mind?
Though Shuhu has been eradicated, the signs of doom have not faded. On the contrary, they grow ever clearer. After much consideration, the source can only be this restless corpse.
One crisis is yet to pass, and another is already upon us. The Arcadia's ley lines were already riddled with scars, and now even the ancient tree's seal is starting to loosen. While Evanesia is asleep, someone must take up her duty to guard this place.
But defending isn't the way of the hunt. If you don't want to become the prey, you must become the hunter.
General, do you intend to go on the offensive and suppress the remains of the Veracity?
How could I? The Joy Seeker could barely confine that husk using the Abundance's ambrosial arbor as its cage. I'm not that arrogant as to place myself alongside the gods. I'm not here to guard against an Eon, but against a lesser menace. Lord Ravager Asat Pramad. This barrier is prepared for him.
Asat Pramad has been meddling with the game from the shadows. His intentions unclear. We know little about him or the Veracity. By chance, however, a friendly citizen has provided us with intel.
Ouroboros' remains are in Ahatopia, aren't they? Silence is an answer in itself. I've seen that reaction too many times.
I'm not surprised that you were the first to discover it. You were in the Torn Scroll too. The probability of you noticing was 24%.
That's a little low, don't you think? I'd put it at well over 90.
What I don't understand is this. There were countless ways to verify your hypothesis, yet you chose the most unconventional one. You bypassed security and broke into the building to confront me in person. What is your objective?
This is no confrontation. It's a warning, Madame Pearl. I'm a security officer, and there is only one reason I'm here. While everyone else is fixated on the Phantasmoon games, only the Department of Aberration Defense is watching other places.
Like the location where the new Herald of Death case was closed?
Correct. The incident involved 4 Daybreak Warriors, 3 nameless, 1 detective, and 1 officer. But just moments ago, a 10th set of footprints appeared at the scene.
After the investigation, we learned that the traces were left deliberately. A blatant provocation.
The Lord Ravager bent on destroying the Elation came uninvited. Make no mistake. Planar Arcadia is a stage he chose with care, and drawing the Abundance into the fray was hardly a whim.
Our top priority is to dispose of Shuhu's flesh properly to prevent it from falling into the wrong hands and causing another calamity.
That said, we cannot afford to ignore Asat Pramad's next move.
This giant web is prepared for that very purpose. Once the entire planet is folded into the divination's trajectory, under the gaze of the Omnitia, all possibilities will be laid bare. When that time comes, he won't wish to leave any footprints behind.
One final question. Why did the Lord Ravager choose to visit this place? Does he have an ulterior motive? Or is this merely some twisted joke?
That question should be left to the professionals. Don't forget, we have a detective who can't seem to rest. Let's hope the accumulation of variables can tip the scales in our favor.
And so the people set out, and the gondola, bound for distant lands, set sail. At the end of the world, the Elation once again declared war upon the Veracity. Frail little humans! Ouroboros split their mouth wide open! Whoever can fill my whole mouth with but a single thing shall receive a reward, my tongue. The fool known as the Shepherd captured a comet, but it wasn't even enough to fill the gap between the Veracity's teeth. The bartender Braji opened the wine cellar, yet they only grew drowsy, drifting off to sleep. And en route, he crept up to the Veracity's ear and told them a corny joke. The Veracity pondered it for 10 amber eras, then burst into laughter at their own amusement. En route spread his hands and said, "See, I filled your mouth with laughter."
Then what happened?
Then the Veracity said, "Are you kidding me?" And with that, they opened their gaping maw and tore en route to pieces.
What kind of nonsense is that?
Those are the facts, my inquisitive auditor. If you want to hear more stories, you're welcome to discuss with your classmates.
We came here to investigate the Veracity and Asat Pramod, but all we got were stories that only a 3-year-old would believe.
Rumors don't just appear out of thin air. It's just a matter of how much truth you think they hold.
At least 90% of that was made up.
Sometimes that last 10% is all you need.